Okay, Dad. I've been doing some research, and I think I've come up with some stuff worth researching. Ready to check this out?
Sure.
Okay. So what we've got here is we're off of 199 on a tributary going west off of 199.
Yeah.
And it's heading up into the region of the Gliese Formation and the Serpentine Contacts. Heavy area, well-known area for pocket hunting and pocket mining. And so basically what I've put together here is up this road, up this tributary. I found some prospects.
This is on the Forest Service map.
Yep, the Forest Service map up here in the National Forest. I found this prospect that if I cross-reference it over here, it lands right in on some of these contacts.
Yeah, right over there. Yeah. Right.
So I think today is our day to go check this out. What do you think?
Well, let's do it. And you know, when I look at this old 1904 mighty map, that's the one in this map pack here, it shows, it shows some old mines along there.
A whole
line of them, the kind of between the area of, Fiddler Gulch and Josephine Creek and all that, and Gliese, we've mined and did pocket hunting in there, and this is kind of in between. And it's on that same stretch, right?
That line of mines there.
That's right.
Lines up with one of the lines of the contact here.
And look, we have serpentine there, serpentine belts, and the Gliese Formation, and they all come together with big faults. And that's the kind of thing that makes pockets. We know this. We've seen it in other places.
That's primo ground. And then cross-referencing off the Forest Service map there, we have a pick and shovel prospect.
I looked in gold and silver in Oregon, and it lists the bigger mines. It doesn't list a big mine up there, but we know there's a lot of areas that didn't have a major mine, but they were small little pocket diggings and sometimes unnamed diggings where the gold came from. And you can tell this because there's good placer workings, and usually where there's good pocket country, it's identifiable because there's good placers in there. And so we'll look for that too. That'll be a key in, won't it?
Well, we put some labor in here. You want to go see if we can get some from it?
I want to do some digging.
Let's go do it. Let's go have a good day.
Okay.
Okay, Dad, we did it. We're on the trail. Look, the mining claim posting.
A valid one too.
Yeah. So that means that there's obviously gold in this creek. So that's a true sign of a trail.
And we've done the first thing. You did the research. We did research from a couple different sources, and all looked right. And we also said, well, hopefully we'll find placer gold there, and there is a sign of placer gold. Looking at the creek, you couldn't see big piles of stacking rocks and so on, but there was exposed bedrock, and apparently somebody feels that it's worth keeping as a claim and everything else. 35, 40 years ago, I panned on the next creek over there that parallels this one, just a mile or two from here, and I got a couple colors. There's no signs of placer mining, no claims. And I looked around, I heard there was a placer mine up there, couldn't find it. I had other things going. But I do remember that after that, since I did find some color, I kept my ears open, and a guy was telling me that over the mountains, this would be on the Briggs Creek drainage to the north of us here, that he had a claim on a creek that wound up this direction and had some really nice gold to show for it.
Well, there we go.
So, and that's on the other side of that fault line and those different rock zones that we're looking at the geology map. It's all piecing together. There's gold on both sides of the mountain, and so we'll keep looking.
We're in the right direction. Let's do this.
Let's do it.
Check this out.
Oh, it's here, isn't it?
We found it. We found the serpentine belt.
Boy, that is the most beautiful serpentine, isn't it? It doesn't get any prettier than that. Look at that. It looks like jade, doesn't it?
It's almost jade, isn't it?
Yeah, right. Well, now
look at this. And here's where it butts right up with the Dothan Formation. The muddy siltstone.
Yep.
Sedimentary. So we're on the right track. That's on the map. That's the way it was laid out. That we go through the Dothan first, and then we hit the serpentine.
Of course, we know that the pocket hunters traditionally said there's not much gold in the Dothan Formation. It goes for miles over here, doesn't it? Just like the map shows. But then we know that over here the map showed that the serpentine belt was relatively thin, and there was places where it contacted the Applegate Formation.
No, it's the Gliese Formation.
The Gliese Formation,
That's
right.
That's where we need to be.
That's right, and all those faults. So we're going to keep heading up the road then. We're on the right path.
Let's do this.
Good.
Okay, let's go. All right, Dad, look, here, we found it. We are standing in the serpentine belt. Look south.
Oh, there's no timber. What timber is there? It's scrubby pines.
You can see that clean line.
Right.
On the left-hand side, it's the Dothan Formation, heavy timber.
Fir timber, too.
Fir timber. The right-hand side, it's more fir and pine, heavier timber.
And that band right up the middle.
Right down the middle.
And on that next ridge, I can see.
You can see it way down
Yeah,
there.
yeah, it continues on for miles. That's what the geology map showed. Yeah, right.
Exactly what it shows.
So what's the next step then?
Well, let's keep going so we can find the other side of the contact. That's where the gold's going to be.
That's right. That's
All
right.
right, let's go. Look, Dad. It's Gabbro.
Oh yeah, look at those big heavy crystals of ferromagnesium minerals, and just a little quartz and feldspars, and well, there's the place that we're out on the bedrock.
Right there, yeah.
This is just the road gutter, of course, and culvert along there. And look at, that's the serpentine over there. We're right on the contact.
There it is.
Yeah, yeah.
So this creek's falling right down the contact.
Yeah, so this is a weak point, you know, it's right along the fault, you know, that makes it up. And it just looks like any other rill along the road here.
Yeah, but this is where that prospect
That's
was
right.
on the map.
And it's got a little more water in it, you know, which is oftentimes found along a contact, because there'll be an accumulation of water. The trees are a little, and there's some soil in there. So we should check up here for...
Absolutely. Let's go look for some mining activity.
Yeah, maybe we can find a sign of the mine. Let's go look.
Let's do this. We're on to it. These definitely look like stacker piles.
Yep, they're not river rounded like we saw on the big rivers, but definitely the edges are worn up, and this is unnatural. It's stacked
This has been placed here.
Yes,
definitely.
Oh, and look right there, Josh. That's definitely a stacked up pile. Mm-hmm. So this tiny little gulch, which is very steep, it's like a gradient of 15 or 20%. Gold doesn't catch very well.
They've been mining here.
Yeah, but there must have been heavy pieces, rough pieces of gold, and only water enough to sluice in the springtime. But they worked it all. We've got to be close to the pockets.
We're getting way close.
Yeah,
Let's keep going.
Good find. Good find.
Look, Dad. They've heavily worked this creek.
That's a big pile of rocks, and some of them are rounded. This is kind of a flatter area here. It was wider. The creek was wider and deeper, and it must have carried gold. They worked the whole thing. Big pile over there.
Looks like they made a dam right there.
It does.
And there's a ditch line taken off of it.
So they ran water downhill to some other spot there. Wow, it shows that this is good. Who would have thought on this tiny little gulch, unnamed, that there was this much workings?
Wow. The pocket's got to be up above us someplace.
It's going to be rough gold, too. Yeah.
Let's take a soil sample.
I agree. That tree has fallen over, and it gives us an access to something down a couple feet deep. I can see some gabbro in there. And there's a little water down there. We can do a little panning later on.
We're tracing just like the old timers did.
That's right.
Soil samples.
We cheated though. We drove here in a truck.
Let's enjoy our luxury.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I walked on up the little gully. No more placer workings. It's wide. There's obviously some depth of material here. It's all back up the hill now, because from where you are down the hill, it was heavily plaster worked. So the pocket must be coming in on these guts on this side that we were looking at. So now that kind of points us uphill, doesn't it? It's right up there where the pockets that fed this little gully came from. You're right, Josh. On up the creek here, I walked up there, and there's no plaster workings. It's just the plaster working stops right where this big ponderosa tree is. You can see they worked up in this big hole right in here. They later on made a dam across there, and there was a little ditch going off the side here to plaster down there. And but there's this big gut that they made following up there. They must have taken snow melt, maybe water further up there from the creek. We don't know, we'll have to see. But they ran it down this gut right in here, washing out gold. And not only it pointed up toward where the pockets were, but they must have found some gold, because they worked hard digging this thing. So that kind of points us. We were coming up here. Now it's pointing uphill.
Here's the gut following the trace up the hill. Goes right through that cut log. Right up there where my dad's at, there's a big pit. And way up there, there's those two white snags, big tree snags. Right up there is where the pocket holes are. Look, Dad, some hillside float, some quartz.
Just sitting there. I see sparklies on it, but yeah, it's not. I don't. Take a look at it. Don't see any gold, but you know this is a good sign. Didn't see any quartz like this over in the Serpentine or the Dothan Formation, for that matter. Didn't see anything over there.
Well, when we get back down to the creek, we can crush.
Yeah, we'll crush
water
these.
And pestle this. Check it out.
In the meantime, I started to see some piles of diggings up there, I think, above us.
I agree. Let's keep going.
And we'll take some more soil samples on this hillside, too.
Let's do it.
So to recap, the old timers followed up the gold in the creek, or that little gully, to that ponderosa pine where their placer working stopped. And then there was that gut that came up the hill for a while. And there was so much gold in the trace that they took the time to dig a ditch over to the creek, catch the spring runoff,
Wash the hillside.
and wash the hillside. It was hillside placer. It was that rich. And then there was about holes every 25, 30 feet. There was another hole, and they're following it up right through this area.
Yeah, there's a big hole at the top of the ditch.
Yeah.
And it's big enough to put a couple cars into. And then from there, it's just these small, couple wheelbarrow full.
Right.
Couple wheelbarrows of holes.
So what we'll do later is that we'll dig some holes in here and see if we can't find some trace on there. See how big the gold is.
Absolutely, we're standing
Yeah,
on it.
right, it's down here, right. But I want to see what they found up there.
Let's keep going.
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's find the pocket.
Well, this is the biggest hole we've seen on this hill, isn't it?
They moved some dirt out of here.
Yeah, look at that big stump. That's what stopped them. But not only they found the trace, but it must have been rich enough. They hauled it in buckets, I suppose, down to the creek. It's, 200 feet down there, where they might have had water, at least seasonally anyway. But they were going for it, for sure.
Well, this is a good place to take a soil sample.
Right under there, I guess.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. And you know, the loggers burned this some 4 or 5 years ago. They logged this. And that made it a lot easier for us today. In fact, some contractor came in and cut down the little trees and so on. I haven't seen any quartz on this hillside.
There's a piece of quartz.
Now there's a piece, yeah. Looks like white quartz, maybe a little flash of pyrite in there. Sign of a bug. I'll put that in my pocket. We'll crush it up later. All right, let's keep on going.
Yeah, this isn't the top.
Yeah, there's more above it. I think I see something up there. Hey Josh, I want to show you something down here.
You're right there.
You know, this is the top of the pocket, though, isn't it? This is where the pocket was found.
Yeah, we're right in it.
And the serpentine is right up under that tree. This side of that tree is a serpentine contact, so it's on this side. And look at this, is just the gabbro. This is the country rock here. But when they were digging this thing, they apparently threw some of this reddish material.
Look at that.
Yeah. It's muddy. It's got that brick red color to it, and I don't think that's in place. I think it's what they were digging out, you know, and they were in a hurry, and so I'm going to get a sample of that and run your detector over it too. I'm going to get my pan here.
That's a good place. Well, we got something.
That sounded good, didn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, here. Yeah, I think they shoveled this stuff out. There's just a couple shovelfuls.
There's just a little area of this mineralized.
I know we've seen it placer mining where they were digging and they would throw out shovelfuls of really rich pay dirt up amongst the boulder piles and tailings. Yeah, see, this is the stuff that came from down there, and it's got that reddish look to it. Good sign. Not like the spice stuff. That was the overburdened ditch rock.
So yeah, right in here. I mean, if they were shoveling their dirt
Is there
out.
still a signal there?
Yeah, right in here. There's still more red material down here. Look at that. It's all red going deep.
What about yellow gold?
I can't wait to sample this stuff, pan it.
Yeah. We've got a little water we brought with us. We can always pack it down to the creek, but you know, it's interesting. We found that nice trail up here after crawling over all those logs up that steep hill. We found, the old timers had a nice trail up here because they spent a lot of time. They spent They spent weeks and months digging this thing. And they had to pack their material all down there. They didn't have metal detectors. So you still getting the signal down there?
Yeah.
So,
I moved it now. It's moved.
maybe we should throw it in here. But you had a good signal there for a second. Well, you know, it's a lot of things are anomalies. It's indication. That was impressive down at Glees how you found that tiny little chunk of copper wire.
I've gone all the way down to the ground. I can find it, don't worry.
You don't think it's in here?
Once.
You knocked it down there. So the signal's coming. Here.
Good number, Danny.
Let's break this guy apart.
Yeah.
Look at the pinpoint out there. Oh, is that a piece of rusty nail there? A piece of can?
Ah, it's a piece of tin.
Yep, yeah, the lower edge of a
Well,
can.
that means that they dug this hole. There's more.
Yeah,
Let's
that's
get it.
right. It's not natural.
All right.
I'll put this in my pocket, though.
We found it, though, Dad.
Yep.
We traced it off the map, up the hill, follow the trail up the creek, follow the trail up the hill, the trace up the hill, and here we are. We found a bona fide Southern Oregon hillside pocket.
You know, they spent weeks and weeks and weeks here. We won't spend that much time, but we'll keep digging along here and we'll find some gold,
We'll
won't
detect
we?
this place. This is the place to do it. That was a good time, Dad.
Good.
Let's keep it up.
Good work,
Absolutely.
Josh.
Good work to you, too. Well, Dad, this is a pretty good little expedition.
It has been. It's been a textbook of finding gold on a little gulch, following it up, seeing that the gold in the gulch ended, going up that hill, seeing the cuts where they found it up. We took samples. We're going to pan those out after a bit. And that's just the way it's supposed to be.
And we were able to demonstrate good research, knowledge, exercising knowledge, and geological understanding.
Yeah. Knowing the rocks, being able to identify the rocks, the gabbro and the serpentine and the Dothan Formation just today.
Map reading, and yeah, the whole thing. And here we are. Here's our treat right here.
Yeah.
Here's a sign of the miners of old who dug all these holes, made it up here without cars and roads. And it's a Maddox pick sort of tool here. It's been sitting here for 100 years, who knows. Just waiting for us here today, and it just kind of brings homage to the whole concept of American mining.
And it's right below another little pocket digs on a series of traces up the hillside here, and we're just next to the serpentine, you know, right off of it.
Well, let's say thanks to everybody who helped make all this possible.
It's been a lot of fun.
It has.
Yeah.
Let's keep it up and let's keep going.
Yes.
Adventures to the future.
Good.